Hey Frag fam, what is going on? I hope you guys are doing well today. Elliot here. Welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So for today's video, we're going to do one of these fun subject matter hypotheticals that we like to do here in Fragcom, and that's going to be choose just one fragrance for the autumn season and throw away the rest. Alright, so obviously I'm not going to choose just one and just talk about it on the video because that would be kind of silly for a long form video, but I gotta tell you, this is a hard subject matter because I have a lot of autumn season fragrances that I would consider for something like this. And you know, you kind of have to think about like, all right, what am I going to use it for? What kind of mood do I want for that fragrance, etc., etc. In real life, I would never even do this. Even if I were just going to have a small number of fragrances I would wear per season, I would still have at least a few options, at least 3. But yeah, we're just gonna play the game because you know this is something we like to do here in Fragcom. So I got 8 fragrances here. I wanted to relegate myself to just 8 choices that I would consider as being my one and only choice for the autumn season. And I've got a couple of variety of styles of the fragrances, if you will. So yeah, we'll see what we got here. We got 8 once again, so let's go ahead and not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and please hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. Alright, to kick it off for this video, we got one from Marc-Antoine Barras, and this is going to be Ganymede. Marc-Antoine Barras Ganymede. Now, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know how much I really like this scent. So this one was kind of one of those no-brainers, if you will, as soon as I started to compile the list for this video. And I would consider this a fragrance that, stylistically, it just kind of works for everything. Obviously, if I'm choosing just one for autumn, I'm going to use it for everything anyway, but stylistically, this one covers that anyway. By chance, if you're not familiar with this scent DNA, it is very unique. It's kind of got a ozonic, mineralic kind of feel with a little bit of a spicy edge, kind of an orange flavoring to it, very dry, woody nature to it, as well as a leathery facet as well. And again, it is a unique scent DNA. It really changed the game. Well, not changed the game, but it kind of introduced something that, you know, put people on notice, if you will, in the fragrance business overall. And there has been some inspired by, some copycats, some cheaper versions of the same thing really put out there. I'm talking about Bois Imperial. A lot of people like that one as well, and you could say that would work just as well as Ganymede does. Ganymede though is has a little bit more depth to it, a little bit more of an edge. But yeah, I love this scent. I would easily wear this throughout the autumn season if I were going to choose just one. I don't care if it's something I would never actually do for the sake of the subject matter. This one here would probably be one of my top choices, if not the top choice. It's at least a top 3 if I had to just pick ones right off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, easy choice for me in terms of it being the only fragrance I would wear for the autumn season. So once again, from Marc-Antoine Barras, this is Ganymede. All right, next one is going to be coming from Hermes, and we've got Terre d'Hermes Parfum. Terre d'Hermes Parfum concentration. So for me, this one would classify as like a office scent, a business scent, kind of a casual business scent, if nothing else. That's how I would classify it. But the scent DNA can certainly work anywhere. I mean, it may not be the best choice for some occasions, but it certainly can work. I don't think there's any situation where anybody would say that a Terre d'Hermes DNA, particularly the Parfum, would be inappropriate. So this one here, if you know the Terre d'Hermes DNA, it is, you know, that orange, dirty orange kind of feel with a lot of vetiver and smoky, soily notes with some grapefruit and orange flavored citrus. This one here has a little bit of the grapefruit citrus still here and less of an orange flavor. It's not as aggressive. It's a lot smoother overall. Still has a hint of that smokiness, but not as much. It's very rounded in this version, and a lot more benzoin is present to kind of soften the smoky vetiver facet of this fragrance. I really do enjoy this stuff. It's just a smoother version of that original Terre d'Hermes DNA, and since it has a little bit more of a richness, you could say maybe it's a better choice for the autumn season. But honestly, the Terre d'Hermes DNA, the original DNA in general, kind of works for autumn anyway. But if I were going to pick one or the other, I'd go with this one. I like how this one is smoothed out. And again, overall, I would place this, for me personally, into like a business category fragrance. But again, you can wear this for anything. It would still work. So once again, from Hermes, this is going to be Terre d'Hermes Parfum. All right, moving on. Next one is coming from Louis Vuitton, and that's going to be LV Lovers. Louis Vuitton LV Lovers. So this by chance is actually my scent of the day today. And I gotta say, I've worn this quite a few times since I picked it up. And every time I wear it, I'm just constantly reminded about how versatile this is and how good it is. I really do enjoy this scent DNA. Similar to Ganymede, this is another one where it just kind of works for everything. You can use this for whatever and it will work just fine. And that is the mind frame I'm put into with this fragrance. It's a do-it-all fragrance that doesn't smell like everything else. Now, yes, it does have some similarity to Le Labo Santal 33, but it's definitely its own thing. So obviously with that being said, cedar, sandalwood combination with this scent has a little bit of a bitter green kind of feel coming from a galbanum. That is a plant resin. Galbanum has a little bit of a bitter, spicy green smell. And then you got a little bit of fresh spice with this by way of ginger and bergamot as well. And I think there's also maybe some light musky notes in here to kind of soften the fragrance a little bit. This stuff here just simply works. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I do think this is an excellent release from the house, giving another option that is one of those kind of do-it-all scents, kind of like Imagination is. This too would probably be on the overall short list if I were actually going to pick just one fragrance for the autumn season. So, high marks for this one with that being said. Once again from Louis Vuitton, this is LV Lovers. All right guys, next one is going to be coming from by Kilian. That's going to be Intoxicated. By Kilian, Intoxicated. Now for me personally, I'm not the kind of guy that would want to wear gourmand-like fragrances all the time, but this is a special case. I just got this not too long ago now. I got my nose on it a long time ago, but I finally got one of these by Kilian fragrances, and I really like this because it gives me a very realistic representation of ground cardamom. I actually have some ground cardamom in my kitchen cabinet, and from time to time I actually sprinkle it in coffee, and it basically smells like what this fragrance smells like. This is basically cardamom and coffee. That's kind of the main gist of what you're getting from this. It does have some ambery sweetness, kind of burnt sugar caramel like sweetness as well. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily put that in my coffee, so that's kind of the one separator. But in terms of the cardamom smell I get, it smells exactly as if I'm holding that small jar of ground cardamom right up to my nose. It's that good in this fragrance. So this is one of the best representations of that in particular I have in fragrance form. And with that being said, I do think it still can be worn on a daily basis. So that's why I'm considering it for this list. And I'm also just challenging myself to use options outside of what I might normally choose. Stuff like Ganymede and LV Lovers. Like, let me push the envelope a little bit. If I were gonna go gourmand, what would it be? It would definitely be this one right here. So, from by Kilian, once again, this one here is Intoxicated. All right, next one is coming from Abdul Samad Al-Qarashi. That's gonna be Safari Extreme. Abdul Samad Al-Qarashi Safari Extreme. So if I were going to put this one as my one choice for the autumn season, it's because I want something that is a little bit more exotic, a lot more different than what normal people would typically be wearing on a day-to-day basis in the autumn season. And yes, I am talking about within the United States. And this fragrance here is definitely going to be exotic. It's going to be different, but at the same time, it's not like too outside the box, if you will. It's not pushing the envelope that much to where, you know, maybe most people would look at me and be like, what is that? You know, so I think it's pleasant enough to pull that off. What is this? This is, in my mind, a jasmine and oud fragrance. There is some rose characteristics to it, but I think the jasmine is at the forefront. Really rich and creamy jasmine, nothing indolic about it at all. This is definitely one of the best jasmines I've smelled in fragrance form to date. And the oud in here, it's a little bit smoky, kind of smells almost like oud chips are being burned as incense, and that's kind of the oud characteristic that is captured in this scent. There's also some ambery and musky accords, some other woods to accompany it. There's a little bit of a fruity vibe also coming from the scent. There is some other florals as well, but at the forefront, it's that jasmine and that oud, and I really love how smooth and graceful this stuff is, and I would have no problem wearing this on a day-to-day basis. So once again, from Abdul Samad Al-Qarashi, this is Safari Extreme. All right, next one's going to be coming from Dior, and it's going to be Dior Homme 2020. Dior Homme 2020. If you're familiar with the scent DNA, you know this is something that simply can just work for anything. So it's another, just use it for whatever fragrance and it will work. Absolutely the case with this scent here, but it is different from what I presented so far. This one is woody, but it's more of a clean and fresh woody fragrance. Does have a really nice note of elemi, which I think kind of adds a little bit of thickness to the fragrance, keeps it from being kind of too bright and dry, if that makes any sense. The woody characteristic of this is pretty much centered around a cedar wood, a very rich cedar wood kind of woody characteristic. I do get a little bit of a musky element to it as well, some very bright and vibrant citrus and spice. And yeah, this scent DNA is definitely one for the modern man that you just simply can use for absolutely anything. So certainly could be a great choice if you were going to pick one fragrance for the autumn season. So once again, from Dior, this is Homme 2020. All right, guys, next one is coming from Jean-Paul Gaultier. This is going to be Male Elixir. Jean-Paul Gaultier, Male Elixir. So if I were going to go with a scent like this, let's just say I want something that's very, very modern, but also a little bit more youthful in nature. Maybe not something as mature. I think a lot of the fragrances I've kind of presented overall have a little bit more of a mature vibe, but none of them would be called youthful. This one is definitely more of a youthful vibe, but I really, really do enjoy this scent DNA. I actually have worn this on a daily basis before, not daily, but I've worn it for like daytime use. And the thing about it is, as long as you don't overspray it, it can work just fine for daily use. So you guys just saw me just chuck that away there. But this fragrance here, if you know, is definitely going to be the richest rendition of the original Male DNA. So it does have that mint lavender combination mixing with vanillic notes, ambery notes, but it's much richer here. A lot of benzoin in this, a whole load of tonka bean, if you will, and it is rather ambery in nature, but it still kind of has that minty lavender freshness that is synonymous with the Male DNA. So that's why I really, really do enjoy this one. And it doesn't really fall into that gourmand category for me. It is, like I said, vanillic in nature, but not like in an edible way, if that makes sense. But yeah, daily wear fragrance with a little bit more of a youthful vibe. If I wanted to go for one, this would be one I would strongly consider for that. So once again, from Jean-Paul Gaultier, this is Male Elixir. All right, guys, the final fragrance for this video is coming from Rosendo Mateu, and this is going to be number 5. Rosendo Mateu, number 5, Floral Amber Sensual Musk. The reason I put this one on the list is, let's say I want to use a fragrance that's like really good for date night or night out situations, but I also want to use it as my daily wear. Here's the winner right here. So if you don't know this scent, it is spicy and very soft, pillowy, vanillic musk with a little bit of a leathery touch to it. The main spice in this is saffron, so that kind of aids in that leathery touch, as saffron does have leathery facets to it. And this has got to be one of the strongest musky amber accords that I have within my cabinet. It is ambery in nature, but it has like more musk than the other usual components that make up an amber accord, and so that creates this really soft and pillowy amberiness to this scent. It's super sexy, definitely really highlights what is a really good date night scent in my opinion. But the thing about it is, it's not inappropriate for daily wear or daily use. I'm talking about, like, you know, professional environments and stuff like that. This fragrance can absolutely work in those environments. Just don't overspray it, because the scent does pack a little bit of a punch. If you overspray it, it could maybe, I don't know, just kind of take over, if you will. But it's so soft and inviting. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, use discretion with your sprays per situation anyway. That's just something we should practice. So once again, from Rosendo Mateu, this is number 5. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you were going to pick just one fragrance for the autumn season. What might that one fragrance be, or what is your short list of fragrances you would consider to put as your one choice for the autumn season? Would love to see what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way until the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.